Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. Well, today Bitcoin actually had a pretty big rise despite the stock market still falling through. Is this justification of, hey, we might be turning ahead and we might actually be reversing our course? No, because as you can see here, this is what we bounced back up at. From about 32,000 maybe at the bottom, 31, 32,000. Well, I don't even know if it went that low. Maybe like 33,000 to about 30, at the top to about 37,000 and now to about 36,000 right now. But let's not forget that just a few days ago, we dumped from around 43,000. So in order to actually justify being even a little bullish, we have to get to at least 43,000. And we're nowhere close to that. And it seems like the rally has died off a little bit. Yes, it was a nice relief rally, but we could go down even further. Microsoft's earnings report comes out tomorrow, and the situation in Russia, Ukraine is getting more tense. I think the White House just sent 8,500 U.S. Soldiers to Eastern Europe, just in case Russia decides to invade. And both the United States and the European Union just gave Ukraine another shipment of weapons. So things are getting more tense there, and either of those things could tank Bitcoin. Now, if Russia doesn't invade, which I still don't think is actually going to happen, and if Microsoft's earnings reports are good tomorrow, I expect another rise. The Fed's also meeting, so people will be obsessed with Jerome Powell, at least for the next 24 to 48 hours or so, and what he says about Fed rate hikes. One of the big banks did actually say they plan to hike rates up 4 times, but the question is how much will they hike rates? I do not think Joe Biden will exert pressure on the Fed like Donald Trump did to keep the rates down, because I think most people, regardless of which side of the aisle you're on, I think most people do realize that to curb some inflation, rates do actually need to come up. You cannot keep them at zero forever like we've done. And this is the culmination of the last 12 years, because we've kept rates basically at zero for almost more than a decade now. And that is really and plus with all the stimuluses, that's really what's causing the inflation. So the rates do have to come up to curb long-term inflation. I really hope the Fed does not kick the can down the road for short-term gains. But that could actually affect the market too. I'm not really sure if crypto is adjusted or what, but my guess is if the stock market keeps dumping, crypto will eventually dump again, so don't become too happy. On the other hand, if the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ start climbing back up because of good tech sector earnings for Q4, crypto will probably rally as well, perhaps even above the mid 40,000s. Now, there is a couple of things to be hopeful for. We had the best shopping season in 17 years for the Christmas season, and we grew up. The sales actually went up about 9% year over year from last year, and last year was up as well. However, retailers won't probably be having too many things to celebrate, or at least the brick and mortar ones, because most of those increased sales probably come through Amazon. Now, the thing is, we don't really know how Microsoft's sales will be. I don't know if people actually bought Microsoft products for Christmas. Apple's stock is lagging a little bit right now, but that might turn around on Thursday with their earnings reports. So there's a lot of earnings reports that are actually coming in that are very, very important. And also, obviously, the Russia-Ukraine thing. So I wouldn't buy crypto right now. I wouldn't really do anything to crypto right now because I don't really, it's too hard to gauge which way it's going to go with all these big earnings on tap. Like I said, if earnings are good, we'll probably go up. If earnings are bad, we will probably go down. I don't think crypto can go against the total asset market for very, very long. If things go awry, this may not be the bottom right now. But we actually did have a decent relief rally, up about 3,000 points this afternoon. But I definitely wouldn't call it the bottom or anything, because we don't really know how the situation geopolitically or earnings-wise is going to come out. And the thing is, if you look back on it a month, we are way, way down. It's just been it's just been like a step ladder down, and we haven't gotten back up. I don't think any of the steps have crawled back up. We went up to 44,000 here before dumping down. Because of the Wall Street troubles. But 44,000 isn't 48,000, which we needed to be up here. And now this final step, we're at 37,000. And yes, that's a nice little bump, but we're nowhere near 44,000. So now the steps are 44,000 and about 48,000. If we can get up to 44,000, that might be a cause for some hope. If we can get up to 48,000, that's definitely a little cause for just a little bit more hope. So that's what we're actually looking at right now. And the technicals say as much. The oscillators, the commodity channel index is oversold, so you might actually want to buy on that. But the momentum and the MACD level is very, very bearish. Also, the average directional index 43, that's one of the strongest I've seen it in the last few months on the daily. And that could just indicate that the commodity channel index and the stochastic, even though are oversold, could just indicate an overall bearish trend. So I would not buy based on the oscillators. On the moving averages, everything is still sell. And despite the pump today, we are still about 2,000 away from actually getting to be above the exponential moving average and the simple moving average. Also, the 50 is still way below the 200, so the death cross has not been reversed. Right now, it's not looking too great. If you want to flip a coin to see what Microsoft's earnings reports are, or Apple's report, or Tesla's, or Apple's earnings reports are, that's on you. But right now, I would not flip a coin for that. I think it's too risky, and you're probably at 50-50 on how their earnings reports actually are. On the weekly, it is also kind of bearish. The oscillators do actually seem to be like more buy now because the commodity channel index and the stochastic are actually oversold. And the average directional index is very weak for the weekly. So essentially right now the oscillators on the weekly say buy. So like if you're buying, let's say like, for a couple months for a couple weeks in next month, that's actually saying buy. But right now the moving averages, even the weekly, are screaming sell as well. We are negative all the way down throughout the 50s. We did pull back a positive on the 100, but the 100 is almost 2 years, and you really can't depend on that. So for the next, on the weekly, it is still fairly strong on the, it's still a fairly strong sell on the weekly overall, I believe. Even though the stochastic could actually indicate a small relief rally. Maybe we got that day, maybe the relief rally will actually continue. On the 1 month, the thing is, the 1 month hasn't really changed, but the 20 EMA is now a sell. Stochastic and commodity channel index, all that stuff is pretty much neutral. The momentum is on sell right now. But we're actually negative year over year now because last year we had a really, really big growth towards the beginning of the year. So we're actually negative on the year now. Right now in the next month, it's very, very risky. Definitely wouldn't buy right now. Wouldn't do anything right now because we don't know which way their earnings are coming and we don't really know what's happening with Russia, Ukraine. So I think a lot of stuff actually depends on that. If Russia attacks Ukraine, I think we're probably multi-month bear market. If they don't attack and the earnings are good, we could pull out next month. But I still think it's too risky to make a bet right now unless you're just DCAing or buying for the really, really long term. I do think the market's pretty good right now if you're buying for the really and you're buying for the really, really long term. I still think it's a good investment. But otherwise than that, I'd probably just hold right now or just keep DCAing in as usual. Things are on sale now, and once the situation clears up, we will probably go up. But whether that takes 6 months or 3 weeks, it's anyone's guess based on the geopolitical situation and also the earnings reports. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button, and I will see you guys later.